put in $2.5 million out of surplus to reduce our taxes. Somewhere that has to be made up. Every time we put in that much money, in the past we put in $300,000, $500,000, maybe as high as $1 million, but last year we put $2.5 million in, and that's a little more difficult. Yes, Mr. Albee?
We started the year prior to that with $2.5 million worth of reserve. After putting the money against taxes, we still had $2.5 million in reserve. Currently,
that's
currently
correct.
we have $2.5 million in reserve. So it's not as if we were taking money, and I don't know where this came from, this notion that this money somehow accumulated over a long period of time to get to the point where they could take $2.5 million out of reserve and pay towards taxes last year.
Yep.
When in fact, you started the year with $2.5 million, you accumulated savings and revenue during the year so that you could put $2.5 million against taxes.
Right.
You never impacted that initial $2.5 million. The same is true this year. You're starting the year with $2.5 million worth of reserve, and you're accumulating additional revenue and saving on your expenses.
That's correct.
To the tune of, I came up with $1.8 million, but it's going to be over $1 million that you're accumulating in one calendar year.
Right.
And the $2.5 million that they used last year was accumulated in one calendar year.
That's correct.
The issue becomes, and you and I both know, that if you continually cut the budget drastically, you're going to find yourself some year with an out-of-control expense like a DEAS number impacting your budget, which you've pared down to next to nothing.
And we don't have anything to make it up.
You don't have anything to make it up.
You're correct. You're correct.
So you're right.
Yep. I understand. Okay. Will? We got some minutes.
Yeah. I want to table the minutes of November 29, 2011. And there are two sets of non-public. What is the
I got the 21st.
And the 14th.
I don't have the 14th.
I just gave it to you.
I left it down on my desk then.
You want me to go get it?
No, that's okay. We ready to do this one?
Okay. Yeah. I make a motion to approve the non-public minutes of September 21st, 2011.
And seal in.
And sealed. Keep it sealed.
I'll second the motion. All those in support of the motion say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Was that September?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah, you left the other one on.
Okay.
So.
All right, Will.
Good morning.
Good morning, Will.
Only have a couple of quick things for the commission.
Okay.
First thing is update about, as I've been reporting this fall, we've been cutting and splitting wood. We have approximately a little over 60 cords, cut, split, and stacked on the landing. We're still working on that as we head into the colder weather. I got some more that I'd really like to have done, so we're still working on that. We've cut logs for the pole barn. We cut 11 trees out back, and we got plus or minus 9,000 board feet out of those 11 trees. They're pretty good sized trees. That's all pine. I do want to cut some other that will be for the poles. That's the only thing I haven't cut yet. That I'll wait till later when we get closer to building it. But I've got someone lined up for a sawmill to come in and mill it. He'll either be here later this week or the first of next week to start.
Snow tomorrow.
Right, to start milling. I don't think the snow scares him too much.
Okay.
He just had a baby though. That's why he's put us off by a week or so. As far as we removed all the loam where the pole barn's going to sit because we need to take that off and add some gravel on top that we're going to build the barn on top of. So that's been done, and that's kind of the status that we have right now with the pole barn. Moving into the water department, we've done fourth quarter. Last week we did fourth quarter samples were sent out. So we have those done. We working on, yesterday we had a rainy day, so we were working on preparations for the backhoe for the winter, which entails getting the chains on the backhoe and getting it all greased up, cleaned up, things like that, ready for that to go. We started bagging some wood yesterday. Inside, I've put wood inside for a rainy day project to keep some inmates and staff busy, so they were out bagging wood yesterday. And then last week we had the generators serviced, the one here at the administration building and the one at the old nursing home. Those, we have a contract. This was our last service for that contract. They come in yearly and they do oil filter, fuel filter, things of those natures, of that nature, and they do a big inspection on it, make sure everything's good. Everything came back pretty good. They did recommend next year when we get the service done to this one that we may want to replace some of the belts on it. They're not anything to worry about right now, but on the one here at the administration building, some of the belts, they said it's not anything they should come back for, that they believe that next year's service would be soon enough. And then there was another issue with the one at the old nursing home, something to do with the exhaust pipe. He felt that it was leaking a little bit. That might be something we need to look at. So I said, well, get me a price on that first before we make a determination, because that is in a very well ventilated area out there. So we're going to get the price on that. The contracts I was saying are going to, on those two, are going to be due. They're going to be up next year. We'll be getting notification about that. The one for the new nursing home is good until 2013, and that is done on a semi-annual basis. They come in February and in August to do that one. That was because of the bid contract that went out. That was what was asked. So what we're hoping to do is eventually, the goal will be to line all three up, to have them all on the same services. That way we're all one trip when the service people come out. Will be something I'll be looking at in the future that I'll present to the commissioners when those come up. But that's the status going on with those. One other, I didn't have it on my sheet here, but one other update that just made me think when Susan talked about the website. We've been working, I know that the ladies have been working really hard. Stephanie's been working with me. We've been getting ready for this new website. I don't know when it's going to go on, but there's going to be some neat stuff. They've been working with me. I've had her coming out at every step of the way for the pole barn. She came out while we were logging. She came out and looked at the gravel work. She's going to come out when the sawmill comes out and take pictures so we can keep the public updated on the new projects that are taking place out at the farm. So that's pretty much all I have. Is there any questions?
Any progress on timber sale? I
haven't seen Wendy. She did come and get a key to be able to access, to go up to the hill. She got that through one of the staff members, so she could go up and start marking. That was probably 4 weeks ago, and that's all I've heard for an update on that.
Take a look and consider selling some of that loan that was piled up as a result of the nursing home. Just take a look and see what we can do. We need to screen it and so forth, but just look into that project for next time. See if we can drive some income off that. You have any questions, Asher?
No.
No? Anything further?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I come to you today as an extremely frustrated department head. I will not be providing my normally weekly report, as I feel that this report is irrelevant today. As you are well aware, the Carroll County Department of Corrections had an escape last Thursday from the main recreation yard. As of now, Mr. Hobson has been captured, returned to our facility where he will await disposition on his original cases and now escape. When will this county realize that failure to address the security needs of the correctional facility amounts to nothing less than gross negligence? This county has had recommendations from subject matter experts before the facility was built as to the needs of the facility. I cite the sections in the Operational and Architectural Program drafted in August of 2001, where a study committee recommended that the yards be closed. First, it stressed the importance of a secure perimeter, that the perimeter should be used as a last resort to slow down escapes. They recommended to enclose a portion of the outside recreation yard to accommodate for recreation exercise during inclement weather. During the committee suggested that the building itself should provide the boundaries for outdoor exercise, outdoor recreation yard. It should provide the boundaries for it. They also made the recommendation that if the yard was fenced, they suggested that grow work or the fencing to be designed for unauthorized persons from observing or throwing contraband into the yards. The study committee also made the recommendations for the number of staff to effectively and efficiently operate that facility. They recommended that 36 officers, they recommended 36 security officers and stated that this would amount not to a bare bones staff, nor would it allow for overabundance of staff. Presently, the Carroll County Department of Corrections employs 29 full-time correctional officers, 7 short of the recommended number. I have the drawing submitted by SMRT dated April 2002, prior to the groundbreaking, showing the exercise yards fully enclosed as suggested by the study committee. The design was changed to meet an approved budget. In 2010, some 9 years later, a separate study was conducted by the National Institute of Corrections. Mr. John Elise did not view this report prior to making his conclusions. 3 items remain consistent with the study conducted in 2001. The yards need to be covered, the lack of a secure perimeter, and the amount of staff was questionable. I conducted a staffing analysis in assistance with of another superintendent from the state, and based on the drawings and the requirements of the various posts, conclusions was made between 36 and 39 officers were needed, consistent with the 2001 study. As of now, we have had contraband introduced to the facility via recreation yards and a successful escape. It is time for this county to look at the facts submitted by the experts who make these recommendations to the counties across this state and the country, and to make sound decisions based on those facts. Failure to do so amounts to gross negligence. I want to address the comments made by this body in the delegation. During 2011, during the 2011 budget, the department was labeled inefficient without facts to support it. There was a quote from this delegation that this county does not, nor will not, follow correctional standards. Standards are what sound policies are based on, and failing to follow these standards will amount to successful lawsuits costing the taxpayers more money. Further, this body has quoted that based on my requested equipment, it appears that we're preparing for a riot. Less than 1 month after this comment, we had a major incident at this facility. It's embarrassing to me and my staff that my staff, who initially began chasing Mr. Hobson, could not communicate with responding deputies and local law enforcement. The recommendation from this body and members of my subcommittee was for us to have cell phones, not proper radio equipment, to communicate with dispatch and responding agencies who may be responding to an emergency while the staff is outside the facility conducting inmate transports. Imagine for a moment that you're chasing someone through a rural or urban area and you must dial on a cell phone, to communicate with a dispatch center. It's unrealistic of the constraints that are put on my department to save money. For those individuals who feel that the needs are not required because we do not hold dangerous or violent offenders, I submit to you that the inmates sentenced to state and federal prisons began serving their time in county correction facilities. We have had our fair share of violent offenders as described in RSA 651-5. What I'm asking for is to ensure that the appropriate funds are provided to this facility so we can meet our obligation to ensure efficient and effective operations as outlined in the statutes. We owe it to the communities within this county that our correctional facility operates in a safe and secure manner in order to protect the public. Failure to do so is not an option, and this board needs to recognize that. Due to the county's failure to meet its obligations, we have tied up numerous state, county, and federal resources, not only from New Hampshire, but from Maine, in order to capture our escapee. In closing, I want to thank the numerous officers of all the agencies who are involved in and participated in the search, capture, and the safe return of Mr. Hobson to our facility. I also want to thank the Ospey House of Pizza and McDonald's to provide food to the responding officers. At this point in time, I'm not going to take any questions. I have to attend a press conference in Alfred, Maine. Any questions I will request in writing, and I will get to them in a timely manner.
I would suggest that you get an RFP for what it would cost to enclose the exercise yards with some